Woo, woo, woo. Well, I've just had some breakfast, had some coffee and some Weetabix, so I'm feeling really strong now. So I'm just trying to wheel some of that cloud in. Woo, woo. Seems to be working. Woo, woo. Morning. How are you? Woo, woo, woo. Yeah, see? Look at that cloud coming in this afternoon. I did that. So this is Loch Drumsuadelaine, is that right? Suadelaine? Write it up here. I'm sorry, Scotland, I've got your pronunciations all wrong. Terrible. That mountain up there, Sully, is it Sully or Sullivan? As it's written, I don't know. Again, I'll write it up here. But I'm sorry, Scotland, you've got a beautiful landscape, but I don't know how to say these words. Anyway, this isn't really what I want to capture. I've come here because I'm up at this area now, so I thought I'd stop off here just to see this, because it is a beautiful landscape, beautiful setting, but it's not really my kind of thing. It doesn't spark it in me at all. I can admire the beauty, but I can't really sort of capture it as I want it, or it's just a bit too pretty for me. So I thought I'd come out here anyway to try and get a shot. The sun is just dipping into some cloud at the moment, so I don't know if that's the last of the sun this afternoon, so I thought I'd come out a little bit early this afternoon to try and get it. So what am I trying to get from here? Obviously you've got the two peaks over there and some water and a little bit of islands. It's quite I have seen pictures of this and I found it quite a complicated scene. That's why it hasn't really appealed to me. I've seen other people's versions of it capturing this beauty, but it is a difficult one to capture just because there's lots going on. So again, it's trying to simplify it a bit. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that, but I'll just do my version of it. May not be the best, but as I say, I just try to capture how I feel when I'm here at this beautiful location, but into a shot that I'm happy with. So what I see from here then, you've got the main mountain over there and the secondary one over there, which I have no idea what it's called. And then you've got all these islands around here within the loch. And they've got the nice little fallen tree down there. But also I've come across this boulder here, which I think it needs some foreground. If you just shoot across the middle ground there with the background, it's not quite working. It needs a build up of the picture here from beginning, middle and an end. But I'm trying to simplify it because as you can see, there's lots going on there. Everything's overlapping, the islands are overlapping each other. I don't think you get a clear view where they're all separated. So you can see it's a complicated scene, a very pretty scene, but not the easiest to photograph. But let's have a go anyway. So what this rock does and why I like it is because it's kind of going off into this direction, which kind of takes the eye into the picture that way and leads on to that first island over there on the left. And that kind of automatically brings the eye back round to the second island and then onto the mountains beyond. That's my idea with this. Unfortunately, we've got this big expanse of water down here, which is just empty. And it's not really working with that. That's the unfortunate thing. But I'm going with a vertical format just because I don't want to bring too much of this landscape in. I want to keep it tight. It's a very horizontal view anyway, so I'm trying to create an opposite by going with that vertical. It helps get this into the foreground as well. And then it trains the eye, keeps the eye within this frame here onto those main views. But it's definitely not an easy place to photograph, but I will have a look around and see if I can find another shot as well as this, but that's okay for starters. I'm trying a lower viewpoint as well, to try and put this rock over the bit of water here, which kind of works, but it means it covers up, or it overlaps the islands and the bit of rock sticking out over on that side, so there's no separation. So it's a compromise there, but we are starting to get a bit of reflection of the mountain in the water there. It's rippling, so I'll try with a ND filter, try and smooth that out again, but it's given some extra interest in the water there, which is good. Well, when I talk about a landscape being too pretty, such as this one, it's very much like why I don't like doing sunrises and sunsets. I mean, this is pretty much a ready-made scene for any photographer coming here. You can just snap away very easily and get a fantastic shot. But I do like to work a bit harder at my shots than that. I don't like those very obvious scenes. I like to find something a bit different. And that's the thing with a sunset. If you had a sunset behind here, you'd have a blaze of colour with a dramatic landscape, and you'd have the wow factor. But to me, there is no wow factor in that. It's all just a bit cliche. But to me, there isn't the wow factor there. Not for me personally. A lot of people love that, and I don't criticise anybody for liking that. But for me personally, it's not how I see my landscapes. So it's a personal thing. So I've never really chased the sunset or the sunrises. I like the light on the landscape rather than the light created in the sky. And so this is why this one isn't appealing to me so much. But I still want to get something from here. This shot may not be it, but something that I'm happy with, something which is my interpretation of the scene. And other people may not like that, but that's okay. As long as I'm happy with it, that's really all that matters. But hopefully you will like it, or at least get an idea of what I'm trying to do, what I'm trying to translate as I see this place, this location, this whole area with my images, if that makes sense. Right, I might have found another view. Come down here. I've seen another view down here. Come down here. Oh. I'm going down there. I think I found a better shot down here. So from down here, I'm seeing something very different. Down by the water's edge, that little island there of those trees, which were really catching my eye up there, are becoming much more prominent, which is really good. I'm really liking that. So that's more in keeping with what I'm trying to capture here. And then you see it kind of sits in the middle of the two mountains. You've got the either side of that. You get more of the reflection of the mountain here, which is not necessarily what I want, but it was something that we was getting up there as well. But we've got a few foreground rocks here, but not ideal. We've got this set over here, which is like a little jetty going out there. I don't know if that's someone's made that by the looks of it. I don't know if that's going to work. It may be too far around, but you've got these three rocks just down here as well. Again, not the prettiest set of rocks. So I'm just wondering if I can make something from here. It's a very different scene down here, very different view, but I do like the island showing up more down here. It's just how I can fill this foreground, which is quite empty otherwise, into making a second image. Well, to centralise the trees between the two mountains meant I had to choose the three little rocks here in the foreground. Now, I was having trouble fitting all three in without bringing that left-hand side rock face into the shot, which I didn't really want. So I've gone for just two rocks, and just by pure luck, those two rocks in a way, match the shape of the two distant mountains. So they're kind of sitting centrally underneath the mountains at the bottom, underneath the two shapes. And they do kind of match the shape of the mountains. Absolutely pure luck there, coincidence, couldn't have planned for that. But I think that makes the shot for me now. Well, first trip out with the adapted 100mm polarizer on a 7.5 filter system holder, and it's doing a fine job here today. Well, that's the end of my trip to Assynt. You may or may not like the shots that I got. You may have seen it differently to what I did. You may have been happier with the sunshine than I was. Well, I never come to these locations to do a record shot, as it were, you know, as it's seen as it is. It's my interpretation of a place. It's my creative view, and so that's what I'm trying to get when I come to photograph these places. And given the kind of personal anxiety I had when I arrived here, when I wasn't feeling that great, I suppose it sums up the kind of mood that I was in and the mood I wanted to capture. Your pictures have to have a sense of how you feel about the place. That's what you're trying to capture, how it makes you feel. Whether it makes you sad, elated, rejoiced, or just melancholy. That's what you're going to try and capture in your images. The whole feeling of how you feel about a place should be captured in your images. So that's what I was trying to do. That's what I always tried to do. That's what I wanted to capture in this landscape. So if I've done that, then I've succeeded. And if other people like those results, that's a bonus. So this is just one of several trips I'm hoping to make to the northwest of Scotland over this year or into next year. And I'm sure I'll come back to Assynt as well, and I'll probably get a totally different set of pictures. But it will draw me back.